Hey everyone, happy Friday. It's Jo of SportsGrid and it's time for a Pocket with Jo. I hope everyone's having a great start to the day. We've got 9 games on the ice today and we're going to break all of these down. Let's make some freaking money. Yesterday was a harder day on the ice than I expected. Some of those teams getting the win I just didn't see coming. We had a great game. Some great games though. So hopefully you still made some money. Let's get things rolling here. Like I said, 9 games on today's slate. We're going to kick off the first game here. We have the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now it seems like these teams have played 5 million times as of late. We had Toronto win the December 23rd matchup in Columbus 4-1, and we had Columbus win in Toronto on December 14th, 6-5 in OT. We know the issues with Toronto. It has been goaltending, and Samsonov will be in net tonight. Now he is mentally in his head, and this is where those struggles are coming. I would love to see him have the bounce back game. I'm just not sure if he's going to have it in this one. Current odds here for this one. The Toronto Maple Leafs coming in as a $2 favorite at minus a 215, plus 176 for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and total of 6.5. Now that's 6.5, highly juiced to that over at minus 154. I'm looking for Toronto to come out strong in that first period. I think if we look at the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first period on that puck line laying the half a goal at plus 124, we have the best opportunity to cash in this game. Looking at Toronto, they have won the last 6 first periods versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. So look for them to come out to get off to a hot start. You also have to remember they're off the loss to the Ottawa Senators at home. In that one, it was a 4-2 loss. So this team will be ready to get things right. We look at Columbus and they're sneaky here, and I could see if Samsonov comes out bad, them being able to pull off the win for the full game. So a little cautious with the Maple Leafs for the full game, but also cautious with the Columbus Blue Jackets. I just don't know how much I trust this team covering that puck line. You look at their record, 10-10 on the puck line at home, plus 1.5. You are getting a value on this team, but they failed to cover that puck line in their last couple at home following an overtime win. So they're off that overtime game. Sorry, just off overtime. They're off that overtime loss 4-3 versus the Devils on the road in their last one out. So this team does have tired legs off of that overtime, and I think it will come into play in this one versus Toronto. We know Toronto is going to be firing like crazy. They're averaging 32.7 shots on goal per game. Their power play connecting 7th best in the league at 25.5%. We do have a strong kill by Columbus, so it will come down to who's making those mistakes. Now, I do like player props in this one. As you can tell from that total, we are going to see those goals coming in at minus 158 to that over, though. We just can't get there. So players I'm going to look at here for the shots on goal, anytime goals. We can look at Morgan Rielly here for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The last 2 matchups versus the Columbus Blue Jackets, in both of those matchups, he did have 4 shots on goal. You can look at him 3+ shots on goal tonight at plus 108. So we are getting a value for him. Mitch Marner for the anytime goal for Toronto. He's definitely a player I've got circled. He's coming in at plus 170. You can look at William Nylander for his shots on goal. You're just going to have to take it way too high. We know Nylander in the last couple of games since coming out of the Christmas break has just been flying out there on the ice. So I do like his ability to put up a lot of shots tonight, but you're going to have to take it up to 5+ shots on goal. And we look at Columbus, while they're giving up a lot of shots at 34.2. I don't know. I just don't like taking a player that high. Looking at the Columbus Blue Jackets, Adam Fantilli here for that anytime goal. So much value at plus 250. And then Johnny Gaudreau coming in at plus 270. Now, if you want to take a safer bet with Johnny Gaudreau, you could look at him for the point tonight. That's coming in at minus 138. So juicy, but not too bad there. He's had a point in 6 of the last 10 games. So we are seeing Gaudreau start to make a bigger impact on this team. I like what we're seeing there. Johnny Gaudreau, Johnny Hockey coming out. So Edmonton Cash, huge for you, James. I am so happy to hear that. I really did think they'd start off that game slow. I was kicking myself for taking the Sharks in that first period. First period over 2 between these teams. I could see it as the defense is let down. I really hope Samsonov has a good night. I'm just not sure if he will be able to. And you guys know my thoughts on Elvis. Elvis is kind of like, I'm waiting for him to really, he's a ticking time bomb, in my opinion, Elvis out there. Okay, let's look at the next game. Now, the next game, I really wish it was Saros in that. We have the Nashville Predators taking on the Detroit Red Wings. Now, the Preds coming in as the underdog on the road at -102, -118 for the Red Wings. 6.5 at -110 to both sides of that. Looking at this matchup here, if it was Saros, this would be a slam dunk for me, for the Nashville Predators, because you look at Saros in his career versus the Detroit Red Wings, so phenomenally strong. His save percentage is .943. He's gone 7-2 straight up against the Red Wings, but we do have a backup goalie in here. I'm not even going to try to butcher his name out there. He did come out in relief in one of these games on December 27th versus Carolina, and he did save all 6 shots put on him. So he should be able to come out here strong enough. I do think we'll see the Nashville Predators defense really step up in front of him. This is a team that's allowing right around that 30 mark of shots on goal per game to their opponents. But I do think in this one versus the Red Wings, they absolutely know they have to give the protection to the goaltender. I'm still going to take a shot on the Preds because this Preds team has dominated over the Red Wings. Like I said, winning 8 of the last 10 meetings. I think it's just a nice possibility here for them. Now, Alex Lyon is back in net for the Detroit Red Wings tonight. He hasn't hit the ice since December, I want to say 16th. He was out with injury. So we'll see how he responds coming into this one out of injury. Because of that reason, I do think the Preds to get a nice early goal. Maybe if you just want to look at them in that first period to be able to come out and get the win, it probably is a really solid way to go in this game. Patrick Kane has been so phenomenally hot, though. So if you're looking for a player on the Red Wings to really circle, to come out strong in this one, I would look at Patrick Kane. You know, Forsberg on the other side of the puck, definitely for the Predators. Now, this is the first night of a back-to-back for the Predators in this one, and they face the Washington Capitals tomorrow. Now, the Washington Capitals play tonight as well. The Caps on the second night of a back-to-back. This is something you guys always have to remember. This team has yet, I think it's 6 or 7 games on that back-to-back. They've won that game. So don't fade the Capitals tomorrow. I think the Preds get the win tonight, and then they probably lose tomorrow versus the Capitals. We look at the look-ahead situation for the Red Wings. They have the Bruins on deck on Sunday at home, so no huge look-ahead for this team. They have failed to cover that puck line as a favorite in their last 4. So this is a team that when they're getting the wins, are keeping it pretty tight. I don't know, you guys. I think the Preds have every opportunity to get this win. Let's look at the next one here. We have the New York Rangers. Odds at FanDuel right now. The New York Rangers, the dog at +155. -138 for the Florida Panthers, total 6.5. -128 to the under, +104 to the over. Now, right away for me, this is an under game. I'm going to lay the juice and go under 6.5 at -128. These two teams are so strong defensively and goaltending wise. This will come down to mistakes. And if the Rangers make the mistakes, the Florida Panthers absolutely will get the win in this one. I love what we're seeing out of this team. But I do think it's the Rangers who will be able to get the win tonight. I look at the New York Rangers. This team is coming off a loss. We know, they're coming off a win versus the Capitals. It was a 5-1 win. I'm expecting them to come in here nice and strong. The Florida Panthers, they are phenomenal, especially defensively. I love the changes we've seen from last season. But I do think when we look at these two teams, 5-on-5, we're going to see the Florida Panthers getting those shots away. I just don't see those high-danger shots hitting the back of Jonathan Quick's net. He is confirmed in net tonight for the New York Rangers. He's coming in with a 2.27 goals against average, a save percentage of .920. I want to take his shots on goal to the over as well. That number coming in at 29.5. Like I said, the Florida Panthers are going to be firing in this one, but their ability to hit the back of the net, I just don't know if it's there in this game tonight. low scoring one. Montour, you got to look at Brandon Montour. If you think anyone's going to get a goal, I could absolutely see it coming in, and we're going to get so much value for him. But the shots on goal, we're going to look at Matthew Tkachuk, Brandon Montour, Sam Bennett, Sam Reinhart. All of those players have the ability to go over their shot props tonight, because you look at the Florida Panthers, they're averaging 34.2 shots on goal per game, third best overall in the league, and the New York Rangers allowing that 29.7. I expect Jonathan Quick to face 40 shots on goal tonight. Jonathan Quick is not the same goalie that we saw last season, that every time he came in, we kind of held our breath for the LA Kings. Jonathan Quick is playing absolutely fantastic with the New York Rangers, and I expect another game tonight that is so strong. I just look at Bobrovsky here, and Bobrovsky has great numbers as well for the Florida Panthers, 2.48 goals against average and a .911 save percentage. I think tonight is going to be a hard one. This Rangers team just playing elite hockey and even better hockey on the road. They won the last 4 meetings versus the Florida Panthers as well in their last 4 games as an underdog. So I'm not scared looking at this team as a dog. Now, I told you I'm taking the under on this total. When you look at the trends between these two, 9 of their last 10 games have gone over that total. We've got one push. So I understand anyone liking that over, but I do think this comes down to which team makes those mistakes out there on the ice. Both teams will be able to capitalize on those mistakes made out on the ice. You look at the power play here for the New York Rangers, best power play in the whole league, converting at 31.1%. The power play so not as strong. They've got a really strong kill here for the Florida Panthers, but their power play is still good at 18.3. Not the best, especially against a Rangers team who is killing that penalty at 86%. The Florida Panthers at 83.3. I just think the power play is just going to be too strong here for the New York Rangers. I think they're going to play the more disciplined hockey. We know this team in the Florida Panthers has been playing more disciplined hockey this year than last season, but I don't know. I'm waiting for that kind of to crack for this team, and I think tonight is the night against Jonathan Quick. First period over 1.5. I could absolutely see that first period coming in over 1.5. Kev riding with the over. You're leading with the Preds on the money line. And see, I want to be there with the Florida Panthers, especially at home. I'm just not sure if I can get there with them tonight against the New York Rangers. So this is going to be, it's going to be a crazy one, you guys. I absolutely think this one has the opportunity of going to overtime, 1-1, 2-2, going to OT. I think it's that tight of a game out there. So my favorite bet probably is Jonathan Quick. Save shots on goal over the 29.5. The Florida Panthers will be getting those shots and firing away. He absolutely needs to stand on his head for the Rangers to get this win. Then I'm going to look at those shot props because the Florida Panthers are going to be getting these shots. I wouldn't take them with the New York Rangers because we look at the New York Rangers here. They're only averaging about 30.9, and the Florida Panthers, phenomenal job at limiting opponents to 27.1 shots on goal per game. So don't look at the shot props for the New York Rangers. Look at those props for the Florida Panthers. If you're looking at players to get those points for the New York Rangers, Adam Fox has gone over a point, has had a point in 7 of the last 10 games. We're also looking at Panarin here. We know how phenomenally strong he has been. He's been getting those points on the board, but he's also gone over 1.5 points, so had 2 or more points in 3 of the last 10 games. So if you're looking for a player to make a huge impact, I would look at him. It's kind of scary, though, in a low-scoring game for over that point in this one. So that's what I'm liking, you guys. I'm going to be so excited to watch that game tonight. Let's look at the next one here. With the New Jersey Devils taking on the Ottawa Senators. The New Jersey Devils are favored on the road at -115, -104 for the Ottawa Senators, total 6.5. Again, highly juiced to that over, -160 to the over. You guys can't get there. The under 6.5 at +130. I cannot take a game between these two to that under. I do think the Ottawa Senators are going to be able to score tonight on Vanacek. We look at the Ottawa Senators. They had that coaching change, and while lots of people saying the coaching change didn't do anything for this team, it did once they got home. They made the coaching change on the road, you guys, and then we saw this team come home. They got that win. They won the next one. They won Wednesday on the road over the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-2. All of a sudden, their defense is stepping up a little bit more. Goaltending is stepping up a little bit more. If this one stays under the total, it's because Korpisalo absolutely stood on his head out here for the Ottawa Senators, and I could see it happening. Korpisalo last season was a goalie that I had absolute faith in to come out nice and strong. So where am I going to go with this one? It's a home dog in the Ottawa Senators for me at -104. They were +100 earlier in the day, and of course, I like that better. But I just think this New Jersey Devils team, they're still having these struggles keeping the puck out of the back of the net. They're allowing 3.55 goals per game, 29.3 shots on goal. So the defense is doing a pretty strong job at limiting those shots, but their kill coming in at 78.3%. Yes, weaker kill here for the Ottawa Senators, but like I said, I like the current form the Sens have played in their last 2 games. Now, the New Jersey Devils have won their last 2 as well. They got the overtime win versus the Columbus Blue Jackets at home in their last game out on Wednesday, 4-3. But I do think Ottawa has every ability. Now, when the Devils are winning, they're not covering that puck line. They failed to cover the puck line in their last 5 games. They've been a favorite in the majority of those. They're sitting 7-8 on the road on the puck line. You look at the Ottawa Senators, 9-9 at home on that puck line, 16-14 overall. I'm taking them straight up to get the win on the money line. I feel a little bit greedy in saying that I'm going to do reverse puck line because they're the dogs, so you can't take them plus the 1.5. You're going to get no value. Reverse puck line -1.5. I think an empty netter comes to play in this one, and the Ottawa Senators win this one by 2 goals. So if you want to look at that reverse puck line, I wouldn't blame you for following me and sprinkling a little bit on that. I do think the first period is high scoring. I'm looking at this first period to go over 1.5, but too highly juiced. But I do think both teams can score in this first period. That's coming in at +132. I think the books are dead on the money with a back and forth scoring fest in this one to that over. It's the Ottawa Senators I trust more to get those goals tonight. I do think their defense locks down a little bit more. So if you want to look at the Ottawa Senators in the first period as well to come out strong right out of the gate, Tarasenko, someone I would circle here for his points, Brady Tkachuk, and then Josh Norris for the Ottawa Senators. And then, on the other side, it's Jack Hughes, Tyler Toffoli, Luke Hughes, and Jasper Bratt. All of those players are hugely impactful. Todd, I appreciate your comment. That is so very nice of you. The Senators are playing good lately, I know. And to get them as a home dog here, this team is playing so much better at home. It's exactly where I want to put my money. Okay, you're going to adjust to the Rangers and the under. Let's see what we can do. The Rangers money line on that winning streak. Absolutely love it. Florida 4-game losing streak versus the Rangers. Yeah, exactly, Jason. So you look at this team. You know these dry spots are going to all of a sudden stop and we're going to see that win. I just don't know if the Florida Panthers can do it tonight. Hard matchups tonight because I really like most of these teams playing each other and what they've been doing. So like I said, Florida, I love what we've seen out of them as of late. It's just you look at the New York Rangers, such a phenomenally strong team, especially on the road. And I kind of feel like if the roles were reversed between the Rangers and the Panthers, and it was the Panthers on the road and the Rangers at home, I might look harder at the Florida Panthers in it because I like what we've seen more out of the Rangers on the road than I have at home. So worried about Korpisalo. Yeah, he's playing better. Korpisalo is, and he probably will be traded. I really like what we saw out of him last season, and it's sad to see his numbers just not really there this one. So we'll see what happens with him tonight. I do think we get more out of him in this game. The Ottawa Senators absolutely need to perform out there tonight, and I think they will dig deep and get this win. Okay. Let's look at the Washington Capitals. They're taking on the New York Islanders. Everyone keeps talking about how the Islanders are off a brutal, embarrassing loss and how they're bounced back. 100% they're off a brutal loss. They got shut out in their last game. The Washington Capitals also are off a brutal loss to the New York Rangers, only able to score 1 goal. I do think the Washington Capitals are the right side. Now, they're plus money on the road today at +125. I can't say no to them here over the New York Islanders, who are so inconsistent, you guys, coming in at -150. I'm not paying that price on an Islanders team. Now, this total 5.5, -128 to the under, +104 to or sorry, minus 128 to the over, plus 104 to that under. Okay, let's look at this one. It's Washington all day. It was plus 130 before. What is it? Plus 125. So we are seeing a little bit of movement. I love the goalie matchup here. Charlie Lindgren in for the Caps and Sorokin in for the Islanders. We look here at Sorokin and his numbers. While Sorokin is so phenomenally strong, his numbers just don't look like it because the Islanders are allowing all of these shots on goal. They're allowing him to be absolutely peppered out there. And I feel for him. 35.6 shots on goal on average he faces in a night. He's got a 3.27 goals against average and a .909 save percentage. He hasn't faced the Washington Capitals this season, but you look at Charlie Lindgren, he hasn't faced the Islanders either. He's got a 2.29 goals against average and a save percentage of .928. So both of these goalies haven't faced these teams this season, and they've played 3 games. There is a reason why these goaltenders haven't been in. And yes, some of the cases have been injury, but I do think both of these goalies are weaker against each of these teams. We look at Charlie Lindgren. He's only faced the Islanders once in his career. In that game, he had a goals against average of 3, a save percentage of .914. And then we look at Sorokin versus the Capitals, and it's not pretty, you guys. I really do. Sorokin's a phenomenal goalie. Don't get me wrong, but the last game that he faced them, he allowed 3 goals on 23 shots on goal. So he has an overall record versus the Caps, 2-3-1 in his 6 games versus the Capitals with a 2.64 goals against average. That number is nice, and a .911 save percentage. I just can't get over the last time he faced them, and he allowed 3 goals on 23 shots on goal. That is not a goalie I want to back here. And you also look at the Washington Capitals. Max Pavietti should be back in the lineup tonight. Now, this is his first time playing with the Washington Capitals as well. He was with the Carolina Hurricanes before. He was injured. He had surgery, and now it's his first night back on the ice with a new team. I expect him to be able to come out and make a huge impact out here. He's going to be on the number 2 power play. So looking at him tonight to get the points on the board, you might want to look at those power play points. We know the power play points have been really slim here for the Washington Capitals. They're only converting at 12.1%, but I think Max coming out here on the ice will be impactful right out of the gate. You know, these players want to come out of injuries, especially with a new team, and come out with a bang. So I'm looking for him to be able to get something done here. The Capitals lost that one to the Rangers, like I said, 5-1. They've lost their last 2. We saw the Islanders get completely shut out at home versus the Pens 7-0. Both of these teams have something to play for. And when we look at the 3 matchups so far this season, we saw the Washington Capitals win December 20th, 3-2, so tight game. They also won November 11th, 4-1. So they were able to cover that puck line. I believe they were the dog in that one. And then we saw the Islanders win on November 2nd, 3-0. So the Caps sitting 2-1 in this series this year. I do think it's 3-1 after tonight. I just don't like the Islanders, how they blow those leads as well. Now, if you're looking at player props, like I said, Max Pacioretty here, I would look at him for his points tonight. John Carlson has been phenomenally strong for the Capitals as well, and Alex Ovechkin. So that's who I'm looking at there. Bo Horvat for the Islanders. We know how strong he's been. He's been able to get a point in 8 of his last 10 games. This Islanders team is scoring. Brock Nelson has been able to get a point in 7 of his last 10. And then Matthew Barzal has been able to go over get his point in 7 of the last 10 as well. So I do see those points coming, especially I really see them coming for the Capitals tonight. We know this is a team that doesn't score a lot, but this is a battle of the Metro. The Islanders sitting second, the Capitals sitting 5th. This is such a meaningful game for both of these teams. And like I said, the Capitals will play tomorrow. They face the Nashville Predators tomorrow, but this team's so strong. On that second night of a back-to-back, it is not a fade for me until they start breaking that trend. It's 6 or 7 games, you guys, that they have won on that second night of a back-to-back. So it's Washington all day. Long story short. And you know what? I like the draw too. The draw in this one is plus 360 to go to overtime. I absolutely love it. 0-0 plus 330 first period. You know what? That is a great bet there. As long as Sorokin can play like the Sorokin we know, I can see those goals coming a little bit later. Okay, let's get on to the next game here, you guys. We have the Chicago Blackhawks taking on the Dallas Stars. I don't love this game. I'm going to automatically say that. The Chicago Blackhawks, a huge dog here, plus 310, minus 400 for the Dallas Stars. We have a total 6.5, juice to the under at minus 128. Now, right away, these two teams play tonight. It's Friday, the 29th. They play again on Sunday. And it's not a home and home kind of situation. It's a road and road situation for the Chicago Blackhawks. In this one, they played both games in Dallas. We got Peter Moretz expected tonight and Scott Wedgwood expected for the Dallas Stars. We know Connor Bedard has been so impactful. He got us that first goal in that last game. We ended up winning the game in OT versus the Winnipeg Jets, 2-1. I really like what we saw out of Chicago in that game, but I do think the Jets just came out a little bit underestimating what they're going to get out of the Chicago Blackhawks in that game. First game back after the break. Looking at the Dallas Stars here, they lost on Wednesday to the St. Louis Blues. It was a 2-1 loss. So they came out a little sluggish as well, to be honest with you. I expect both of these teams to play better hockey than they did in the last game. Chicago, they still got the win, but there was some mistakes out there on the ice. So I'm going to take the Chicago Blackhawks plus the 1.5. I don't love it, you guys, but at plus 122, the value's there. I just can't get behind the Dallas Stars. There's something about this team. I can't put my finger on it, but they're not really blowing anyone out. They played in such a tight games. They failed to cover the puck line in their last 6 games. They're just squeaking out these wins. And it's like, when they get into that third period and they have the lead, they drop back, they play defense, and I understand what they're doing, and they're able to get the win, but they're not able to cover that puck line. So when you see them such a big favorite, I just can't get behind them. You look at them on the puck line at home, 4-12 on that puck line. Chicago, their numbers aren't great on the puck line on the road, 6-11. But I do think this team is hungrier for that win, especially when they play again on Sunday. So I could see this game just being tight, 1-goal game. I'm willing to take Chicago in that 1-goal game. Or you could take the Stars in regulation. I don't hate that either. So I could see that one going that way as well. Yeah, I'm with you, Groovy Caps. He is great for that anytime goal. Dallas should win, but like you said, close. Blackhawks definitely rolling in with momentum. Connor Bedard. Can we look at Connor Bedard for the anytime goal again? Absolutely. Connor Bedard to come out strong. You know he loves to come out flying and get that first goal. He got the overtime goal in that last game. So I wouldn't be shocked if he came out and got that first goal again. Let's talk about another team that I'm going to count on in the first period. We have the Colorado Avalanche taking on the St. Louis Blues. Colorado. If you bet Colorado, you're stressing in that third period. We saw what that happened to them in the last game versus the Arizona Coyotes. They fall apart in the third period. Teams come back and teams are able to get the win over this team. I'm not sure what's happening with Colorado right now. They're minus 178 on the money line, plus 146 here for the St. Louis Blues, total of 6.5. Now minus 122 to the over 6.5, plus 100 to the under. The only thing I want to do with Colorado is take them on the puck line in the first period, laying half a goal at plus 140. Expect this team to come in firing on Jordan Binnington right out of the gate, find the back of his net, and then try to hold their lead they get in the first period. And that's all I'm going to trust them for. The St. Louis Blues have covered the puck line their last 4 games at home, but you look at the St. Louis Blues on the puck line, plus 1.5 at minus 162, and I can't get there. I could see Colorado actually pulling this one off in regulation, but we look at the St. Louis Blues. This team, since the coaching change, has been playing really strong. They've won their last 3 games as well. They got that big win versus the Stars at home, 2-1 on Wednesday. Colorado, like I said, blew a lead again versus the Arizona Coyotes. This is a team you take right out of the gate to come out strong. I can't trust them. So if St. Louis goes down by 2 or 3 goals, taking them plus 2.5 on that puck line, it's going to be value, or even that +1.5 on the puck line as soon as that value comes in after Colorado scores, because that's exactly how I see this game playing out. I think the St. Louis Blues will play to the very buzzer. I don't know when Colorado will give up in this game, probably with 12 minutes left in that third period. I could see them definitely giving up. Now, the last time these teams played, the St. Louis Blues got a huge blowout win over Colorado. That was back in November. They got the 8-2 win over them. So we know the Avs coming out of this one really want to get this win. I do think this is a lower scoring game, though. I like the under 6.5, Georgia, expected here for the Colorado Avalanche and Binghamton, like I said, for the St. Louis Blues. But you guys know the Binghamton is another goalie. I'm just waiting. He's like a ticking time bomb as well. Him and Elvis. Basically, I don't know when those two are going to allow all of those goals to come flying in. I understand, Kev, why you're taking the Blues on the money line. I do think it's worth a sprinkle, the Blues on the money line, especially once we get more value. Because we look at the value right now on the Blues on the money line at +146. I don't want it. But if we can cash that first period with Colorado in the first period, and then get the St. Louis Blues to come back at +210, +215. That is where I will hit the St. Louis Blues on the money line. So I'm going to wait till Colorado scores a goal, even if they score 2, and then look for the St. Louis Blues to be able to come back. So definitely worth that sprinkle. And Doug, the under. Yeah, it's got to be an under game here for sure. Okay, let's look. Will you be married by 2030? I'm saying you're going to be married by 2030. We're going into 2024. You'll be married by 2030. Not 2040. I almost said 2040. You'll be married by 2040. Let's go with that. The Arizona Coyotes taking on the Anaheim Ducks. Another game I don't love here. I got this odd feeling that the Anaheim Ducks will win it. You guys know my love for the Arizona Coyotes and how this team has been playing. Young, hard, fast team. They're coming in at -130. I don't know why, but something's telling me the Ducks are quacking tonight, which I don't like. It's not a team that I have a lot of faith in. They're coming in here at +108 at home, total 6.5. Now, juice to the under at -130 to the under, +106 to that over. If you think the Ducks are going to win this, it has to be in a lower scoring game, staying under that total. This team's just been struggling to find the back of the net. They went on that nice ride where they were getting those goals. They were winning those games, but this team has been not as great as of late. But yes, they got the win over Vegas. Their last game out. I do think Vegas was in a look-ahead spot to the LA Kings, and that was an advantage to them going into that next game. They were able to beat the Kings in that one, get their defense going. Again, I just think the Ducks here at home with momentum. If it was in the Mullet Arena in Arizona, I would like the Coyotes in this one. You guys know I love the talent on this team, but I do think the Ducks are able to get something done on their home ice. You look at them on home ice, so that record isn't pretty. They're sitting 6-12 at home. The Arizona Coyotes, 6-9-2 on the road. I want the Coyotes to get the win. The Ducks won the last one 4-3. While these two teams don't score a lot, even though I think the Ducks get the win, I think this one has the opportunity to go over. I'm not feeling confident in the total. I'm not feeling confident in the Ducks. Just a gut feeling in this one, and no rhyme or reason in this. So it's not going to be a pretty game, you guys. I want to take Clayton Keller, Logan Cooley for the anytime goals. Just don't know if it's happening. Let's get those likes up. Yeah, get those likes up, you guys. Thanks, Lesman, for sure. Colorado for the shutout versus St. Louis, +1100. Wow, that would be phenomenal to see Colorado be able to get the shutout on the St. Louis Blues. Since the coaching change, the St. Louis Blues have been playing better. We know they've been on the winning streak, but this team has been shut out this season. So I don't hate it at all. Okay, last game On deck, we have the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Seattle Kraken. Seattle come in nice and rested. They're off that win versus Calgary. They've won their last 3. The Philadelphia Flyers off the win last night versus the Vancouver Canucks. Not what I saw happening. I love what we've seen out of the Vancouver Canucks. And for them to be able to get the win with Urshan in goal, he's been playing phenomenal. They held the Canucks to only 1 goal. I should have really gone with the trends last night with the Philadelphia Flyers. They've dominated versus Vancouver. I just couldn't see it happening. But this team is on their second night of a back-to-back. Carter Hart expected in net for them. Now, Carter Hart has a record of 1-1. 2 games versus the Seattle Kraken. He has a goals against average versus the Kraken of 3.28 and a save percentage of 0.884. Joey Decord expected in net for the Seattle Kraken. I think the Seattle Kraken can keep rolling here. Looking at current odds in this one on FanDuel, the Kraken are now -130. They were -128 earlier in the day. +108 here for the Flyers, total of 5.5. -134 to the over 5.5. Now, both of these teams have really, they're not known for a lot of scoring. We look at the Flyers only averaging 2.97 goals per game. The Kraken at 2.67. So you got to think it should be a lower scoring game. But I do think with the Flyers on the second night of a back-to-back, we see more goals coming in. I think Carter Hart is weaker against the Seattle Kraken. So I do lean for this one to go to that over. I just don't trust the Kraken's defense. And if the Kraken are able to come out and get the win, they're going to have to really stand up in this game. Their defense is allowing an average of 3.03 goals per game and 29.4 shots on goal. So this is one where it's a coin flip, you guys. But I do think second night of a back-to-back, the Phillies play a defensive game. Absolutely. But I just don't know if the second night of a back-to-back they can versus the Seattle Kraken. This is a team allowing 28.6 shots on goal per game. So I do think that number goes up tonight. I expect Seattle to be able to put closer to 30 shots on goal on Carter Hart tonight. And like I said, I don't like his numbers versus the Seattle Kraken. The last game out versus the Kraken, he faced 19, 20, 20. Well, he saved 19, allowed 4. You guys have 23 shots on goal. Fast math in my head. When I play crib, you guys, I count on my fingers all the time to make sure I'm right. 23 shots on goal. He allowed 4 goals to go in. So that was last February. I just don't like his numbers here versus them. And 3 of the last 4 meetings between these two teams have been higher scoring. I'm expecting it to be a higher scoring one. Now, if you're brave enough to take the Kraken on the money line in the first period, we have seen them be strong in that first period at home on that money line, winning 60 of their last 100 games at home, overall. On that money line, so not just home and road. I was going to say this team isn't been around that long, but 60 of their last 100, so your ROI on that would be 28% just betting them on the money line in that first period overall. Yeah, this card is a little tricky tonight, that is for sure. I know I always finger count. It's just what I do, even though I know the numbers in my head to make sure we are right. Let's get going, you guys. It's going to be a great night on the ice. Flyers and Kraken betting the under. I understand why. It was one that I really went back and forth with what I was liking with this total. I do think the Seattle Kraken are due for a huge offensive production in one of these games. So I could see them getting those 4 goals, going over that team total easily. Let's see what their team total is and what kind of value we're getting on the Seattle Kraken's team total. I really do think this is the night for the Kraken. Like people say, release the Kraken. I think we're going to see that style of game out of them. Joey Decord, his saved shots on goals, 26.5. Carter Hart saved shots, 26.5. So those are both coming in the same. Seattle's highest scoring period. Really interesting when you start to break those periods down. +430 in the first, +280 in the second, +240 in the third. Man, the tie for any of those is plus 170. I'm not going to bet that, but the Kraken's total goals over 3.5 at plus 124. I do think there is value there. The Flyers, if you like their team total, that's 2.5 at minus 142. I don't like laying that much juice. I do think the Kraken will get over that 3.5. I think they'll get 4 goals in this one tonight. They're the ones I'm counting on to be able to get those goals. But you guys, that is it. 9-card slate. Make sure you turn on notifications for when we're going to go live tomorrow. I am on Sports Rage tonight at 10:12 Eastern. Yeah, 10:12 Eastern. So go over and catch me over there on the grid. Just to recap, my favorite bets. It is the Leafs first period on the puck line laying half a goal. The Predators on the road. I just can't get past how strong they played the Red Wings. The Rangers on the road with Quick and Net, and the under with the Florida Panthers. The Sens at home versus the Devils. Both teams to score in the first period I like as well, plus 132 in that one. The Capitals on the money line, that one to go to overtime as well at plus 360 versus the Islanders. Chicago Blackhawks plus 1.5. The Avs in the first period on the puck line. You can also look at them in regulation. They allow teams to come back so much. The St. Louis Blues, once the Avs go up, I am really tempted to take the St. Louis Blues for the value on that money line. And that's it. My Buckeyes play tonight. My Buckeyes playing Missouri. That's coming up at 8 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock my time. We've got a little bit of time. Buckeyes all day. I'm going to get my jersey on. I'll see you guys on Sports Rage tonight. Turn on those notifications so that we can know when I'm going live tomorrow. Tomorrow night, I am on the grid from 8 to midnight, as well as New Year's Eve, 8 to midnight. It's only 10 my time, so I'm going out right after, but join me for midnight in the Big Apple. Eastern time, I will be on the grid. So I will see you guys this weekend. Have a good one. Keep smiling. Let's make some freaking money out there. And if you haven't downloaded the SportsGrid app, make sure you do. You guys, all the best in all of your bets. Keep smiling. I will see you tomorrow.